Сил 35 километров. Давай, давай, интенсивно. Скорость у нас нормальная. По 10 метров, Паша, однозначно, даже по 14 можно. И доложим 1500.
Куда падаешь?
Четыреста к четвертому.
Сколько удаления? Удаление 25. Скорость проверяем.
Удаление 20 километров.
Интерцепт туда был правильно?
Merry Christmas!
Hello again everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It is that time of the year again. Christmas is rapidly approaching, and as has become somewhat traditional here on Into the Blue, we're going to be making our annual festive flight, this year outbound from Rovaniemi. Why Rovaniemi? Well, I'm sure that many of you know, but Lapland is of course the home of Santa Claus. The last couple of years we've had a few Christmas-based emergencies to deal with. Not so this year. Christmas is back to normal, with Santa dropping off his presents ahead of the big day. Santa's elves have been working tirelessly in the factory, and as you can see they've managed to rebuild Mriya, the Antonov An-225, restoring the aircraft to her former glory. We're going to be making the delivery flight, returning Mriya home towards Antonov International Airport and the people of Ukraine. Today is also quite a special day in the history of the An-225. On this day, the 21st of December 1988, 35 years ago, the 225 first took to the skies. So I thought this flight would be a great way to mark Christmas as well as that historic event. Do bear in mind this video is not intended to be any sort of a political statement. We're just here to have some fun, get into the festive spirit, and enjoy the Antonov 225, which I've actually yet to fly here on the channel. As always during these Christmas flights, I will also be running a charity fundraiser and prize giveaway alongside the video. This year we'll be raising money for Save the Children. I'll leave the full details down in the video description below, but please do head over to my Just Giving page and give a little if you can. I'm sure that the channel's probably saved most of you some money throughout the year, so if you could give even a tiny fraction of that back, it would of course be very much appreciated. As far as the prize giveaway goes, I'll be giving away one Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft add-on of your choice per £100 that we managed to save for Save the Children. All that you need to do to be in with a chance of winning is watch the video, answer the questions down in the video description below. Obviously, the more money that we raise, the more add-ons that I'll be giving away, the more chance you have of winning something over the festive period. Once again, I'll leave a link to the Just Giving page and the full details of the competition down in the video description below. So thank you very much everyone, I do hope the flight gets you into the festive spirit. As always, if you do enjoy the trip, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. Now let's head back to the cockpit of the mighty Mriya. So, welcome then finally to the cockpit of the legendary Antonov An-225. As discussed, we're currently on the ground at Rovaniemi, just outside the home of Santa Claus. Santa and his elves have been hard at work, bringing Mriya back to life, and today we're going to be taking her home towards Ukraine. As you'll have seen from the introduction, the crew and myself have been very busy here getting the aircraft fully started up. We've got all 6 engines running. Just the after start checklist left to go, but before we action that, we'll just run through a quick brief here of our departure today out of Rovaniemi. We've already got everything planned here in the GNS 530 off runway 03. Today it's going to be the Renvi 3 Bravo departure. Let's plate 10-3 Charlie, it's an RNAV SID. Aerodrome elevation 643 feet. Transition altitude 5,000. We might hold off on that since we'll get pretty busy here during the departure. After takeoff, they want us to climb as rapidly as possible till passing through 2,650 feet, so around 900 meters. And we'll maintain tower frequency here until we're up through 2,000. The departure itself pretty straightforward. Runway heading initially 025 degrees out towards Romeo Oscar 363. Maintaining a max speed there of 200 knots, that's around 370 kilometers an hour. Then making a right turn out towards the southeast, towards waypoint Zebki, holding a speed of max 230, again around 425 kilometers an hour. And then another right turn out towards the southwest, this time out towards waypoint Renvi, at which point we'll pick up the rest of the flight plan route. In terms of the terrain, no significant terrain around Rovaniemi, the MSA 2,400 feet. Otherwise, again, obviously not a particularly pleasant day. Nice wintry conditions for us though. Certainly though the conditions are good enough if we do need to make a return. We've got adequate visibility. The ILS back onto 03. Taxi today as well is pretty simple. We're on the apron here just out towards the southeast of the main runway. So we'll be making a left turn out onto taxiway Tango, and then we'll take Tango down to holding point Alpha for a full length departure, again off runway 03. So for the after start checklist, the flaps we can initially set through to 2 degrees. Ground spoilers are armed. The reversers are armed. Engine idle switches are set through to high idle. We'll carry out a flight control check. So we're full up, full down, and neutral, full left, full right, and neutral, and on the rudder, full left, full right, and neutral. So the flight control check is good for the aileron and rudder trims. Those are both set neutral. Elevator trim is checked. Nose wheel steering is selected on. Anti-ice is set as required. Taxi lights are selected on, and the transponder is set. So once again, pretty straightforward taxi for us here. We'll be making a left turn onto Tango. We'll get our 6 engines and 32 wheels moving out towards the runway.
Fra Alfa 8 til Alfa 4, og så en 3 forresten.
Okay, so we now have ourselves lined up here on runway 03. We've also had our 1-minute engine warm-up, so we are now good to go. Just for the before takeoff checklist, the landing lights are selected on, same there for the strobes, the logo lights, and the fuselage lights. Window heat selected on here on my side, same on the first officer's side. Transponder is set through to TARA. The ground spoilers are armed, same there for the reversers.
Стабилизатор.
Engine idle switches now set through to flight idle and guarded. Rudder and aileron trims are checked, the elevator trim is set, and the flaps now set through to the takeoff landing position. So as the before takeoff checklist complete, we'll take the park brake off, just holding the aircraft here on the toe brakes. We'll come through to 40% initially
Скорость 280.
and allow the engines to stabilise.
Ну ты чё болтаешь? Вот пиши, не болтай. Чё ты болтаешь? Как одно. Не болтай, не болтай. Видишь, вот директор.
And now all the way through to take off power.
210.
Ничего нету. Вот
Скорость
ты
взлета.
взял себя. Видишь,
Всё нормально.
80. И не
Скорость
болтай ты его.
290.
Чё ты разболтаешь? Его можно вот болтать. Вот будет всё равно прямо.
And off the brakes. And away we go.
150 метров пара.
Пара большая.
Ага, включены
Болтай,
посадочные.
блядь, по хренам туда-сюда. Мотаешь.
Скорость 280.
So power is set, airspeed's alive. Just a slight crosswind here out from the right.
280.
Just come out through 150 kilometers an hour. BR is 260.
80 метров.
There's 200.
Садимся, 60, вертикальная 4. Ближний прошли курс
And V1,
чуть-чуть ниже.
Нормально.
40 метров, 35.
rotate.
Вертикальная 3,5.
Gently back on the yoke.
20, 15, 12, 10, 8.
And Mriya racing her way into the skies once again.
2, 1. Скорость 250.
So pitching for around 10 degrees nose up, we want to maintain about 300 kilometers an hour here in the climb. We do have a positive climb, we'll bring up the gear.
160, 150, 140.
And we'll just maintain the pitch till we're up through 300 meters. Or 1,000 feet.
Это значит, да?
Okay, that's 300 meters, we'll take the autopilot master, auto throttle. We'll come into nav and flight level change. And we can accelerate now up towards 370 kilometers an hour for that initial speed restriction.
And videre 300 Yankee, contact power, landing reported.
So there's 370.
Вот сейчас он ветерок даже попутный был, что ли, около земли.
Just commencing the turn through the first waypoint.
Скорость набегания была большая.
По земле не знаю.
And we can start retracting the flaps here on schedule. Up through 330.
Третий вот это.
Going flaps 25. And we'll come now through to flaps 15. Once we've completed the first turn, we can accelerate up towards 425.
Сейчас выйдем, ага, убираем. Убираем. Прокрылся.
The aircraft there not doing a brilliant job of holding the speed, but just about maintaining the speed there within VFE. Okay, so first turn complete, again accelerating out towards 425.
Green start in 0 contact tower 194. So long.
У нас какие ограничения? За
425 set, and continuing to accelerate.
Нет, ну за 25, а мы на сколько выпускали? Ну где же?
Just waiting until we're up through 380.
Я доложил, да, где-то
15 километров мы начали выпускать 6. Ты расшифровываешь, я расшифровываю.
We'll come through to flaps 2.
Поэтому я тебе говорю, ты идешь с уходом на второй круг. В принципе, мы
Good morning, green start in 0 establish start at 0 9. Green start to 0 hello.
And again, we'll just hold the speed till we're around the corner. After that we can accelerate up towards 460 kilometers an hour. That's a speed of 250 knots. So looking at the GNS 530, you can see now tracking out towards waypoint Renvi. Showing about another 8 minutes to run until we pick up the rest of the flight plan. So through now to 460.
Yeah, Norseman 5 on Quebec, ready for immediate. Norseman 5 on Quebec, line up, run
And speed's checked. We'll go flap 0. So the flaps are retracted. The climb checklist, the reverse lever is stowed, the reversers are disarmed, flaps selected up and verified up. Ground spoilers are disarmed, landing gear, gear lever set through to neutral. Anti-ice is set as required, altimeters come down to 1013. For the metric altimeter here, I'm not sure what we're supposed to be setting. I don't know whether or not that's a QFE reference. We'll leave that as it is for now. We'll come on to standard once we come up through flight level 180. So altimeters are set, landing lights are selected off, logo lights and fuselage lights can go off here as well. Just coming up through 10,000 feet, so we can continue to accelerate now. Looking for a speed of 560.
Norseman 5 on Quebec, green 100 degrees, 2 knots, runway 09, clear for immediate.
We've got 560 set. And we'll be maintaining 560 here till we hit our Mach number, looking to climb at around Mach 0.76 to 0.78. So Mriya here, just continuing to accelerate up above the clouds. Rather a beautiful view here as we ride the clouds out towards the southwest. So we'll settle in here for the flight, get ourselves comfortable, maybe even have a little Christmas drink en route. We're heading up towards flight level 330 today, or again 10,100 meters. The weather in Kiev, certainly not nearly as nice as we saw there out of Rovaniemi. Should be a pretty challenging approach later on. We'll be battling the snow and the visibility inbound towards Antonov Airport. Nevertheless, I'm sure Mriya can take it. We'll be doing everything we can to get her safely back on the ground and safely back home.
Grab for Papa 6, do you need Alpha 1 or ready from Alpha 6? Grab for Papa 6 order, taxi to Alpha 3 there. And for Papa 6, contact tower 1 and a foxtrot. Ja, helt rett, ja, helt ute i front. har 2 stykker som driver de-gassninger. Videre groundhandling av de ASUS, så resten den du vil hjelpe igjen.
Надо убрать, наверное. Скорость не теряй.
So, welcome back to the flight deck of the An-225. As you can see, we're just descending down into the cloud layer early on in the evening here as we come overhead Kiev. Just coming down through 10,000 feet, so we'll get the landing lights on once again. And we can start slowing up as well now, back towards 460 kilometers an hour. Essentially 250 knots here below 10. So we have 460 selected, the engine's rolling back, the speed is reducing. Now we're doing about 700 feet per minute rate of descent, so we should be able to slow down here and continue the descent at the same time. The descent checks, the altimeters are set, landing lights are on, we'll take the logo lights and the fuselage lights on there as well. Bank angle limiter is selected off, the ILS frequency has been tuned, we've got 108.7 here on both sides, the final approach course is 328. In terms of the approach itself, we're going to be flying the ILS for runway 33 into Antonov Airport. Display 31-2, again the frequency 108.7, final approach course is 328 as discussed. Aerodrome elevation 518 feet, we're initially descending down to 1500 meters, so about 3000 feet. That'll put us about 2500 above the field. Currently we've got about 45 miles to run, we're going to fly a 20-mile DME arc round onto the ILS. Descending down to the Cat 1 MDA of 706 feet, that's 200 foot on the rad out. And we've got 70 meters pre-selected there on the metric radio altimeter. Again, in terms of the terrain, no significant around the airfield. The highest sector MSA 3,000 feet, hence our descent down to 1,500. This approach is climbing 328 to 2,000 feet, then left turn back towards the Golf Oscar NDB, which we've also got tuned up. And you'll see in just a moment's time we're picking that up on the RMI as well. Otherwise, obviously quite a bit more build-up of weather here over Kiev. Definitely a lot of snow in the area as well according to the forecast. Pretty much blizzard conditions here on the ground, so we'll see how we go in terms of the weather. No auto land option in the An-225 I believe. So again, just descending down to that Cat 1 MDA. We'll be landing on runway 33, vacating off to the right. We use full reverse given the conditions. So at the moment, on a heading still of 170, showing 38 miles to run, and just coming down through 8,000 feet. They're looking pretty good here on the profile. We'll just come on to a heading here of 180. We're going to course 1. And since we're already established now on 19, we'll go for 190. We'll track 190 until we're 20 miles from the field. And then again, we'll join in for that DME arc. So speed's good, back at 460, down through 8,000. And uniform kilo Mike, destination is now the active waypoint showing 35 miles to run. 8,000 feet means about 32 miles is pretty much spot on in terms of the profile. We'll start slowing up again as we approach 20 miles. The plan, as I say, we'll make a 20 DME arc, right hand turn out from the south. That'll bring us around onto our runway course. In the meantime, we can just enjoy those stunning views here in the evening sunset once again.
Команду надо делать, фары выпустить, включить, закрыть машин, 36. Время хроника, снижай сразу. Павел, ну что ты, где ты вошел в глиссаду еще? Она не дошла до тебя. Вот, посмотри, у тебя глиссада.
36 выпущено. Скорость 290. Пускай всем
82.
Можно контроль.
Контроль по карте.
Okay, so we're just coming down through 4,000 feet, not yet through the base of the cloud layer. Coming on to 327 there on the bearing, so we'll just shallow up the intercept angle. And the loc is now coming in, so we'll turn on to our intercept heading. Got about another 18 miles to run. We'll start reducing our speed. We'll come back towards 400 kilometers an hour initially. Below 450 we can take flaps 2. And nicely established now here on the loc, so we're coming to approach. We'll arm up the localizer. We do also have the glide slope, we can arm that up. And now visual with the ground, although not yet visual with the runway environment. Just coming down through 3,500 feet, so about 3,000 foot above the ground. 5 miles to run here till we hit the glide slope. And speed check, we'll go flaps 2. We can take flaps 15 below 400 kilometers an hour, so we'll just reduce our speed a little bit further, back towards around 370. Just to give us a better margin there on VFE. And once we're back at 370, we'll come into flaps 15. We'll hold the gear for now, we'll take that once we see the glide slope start to come in. Doesn't look at the moment as though the airframe's picking up too much icing, but we'll keep a good eye on that. We've already got the engine anti-ice selected on. And speed checked, we'll go flaps 15. So currently in out capture. The glide slope there just starting to come in. So I'll take the gear down. Again, we'll reduce the speed back towards 300 kilometers an hour. Reversers are armed, spoilers are armed. They're just the flaps to come. And just coming onto the glide slope. 10 miles to run. We'll hold 300 for now. The approach is 260 kilometers an hour, but we'll take an extra 20 kilometers an hour or so. I find that the auto thrust on the An-225 is pretty lazy to respond. Also as well with the potential icing conditions, it's not going to do us any harm either. Not yet visual with the ground, so we'll keep a good eye out. Obviously though at the moment just making sure the aircraft is maintaining both the loc and the glide. Ever so slightly out to the left of the localizer, slightly high here on the glide slope as well. Just coming down through 1,000 meters. Just going to leave 1,000 meters selected here for now. Once we're down through 700, we'll set the missed approach altitude, which is around 700 meters. Not sure I entirely trust the An-225 not to capture if we set 700 now. Approaching 7 miles, we'll come back towards 280. We'll select flaps 25.
Green side and 208. First right, contact ground 126.
And we'll come through to landing flaps. So for the landing checks, we have the gear down, green light, flaps set through to landing, reversers are armed, spoilers are armed. That is the landing checks complete. Okay, we are now visual with the ground, not yet visual with the runway environment. A little bit of snow here as we come down final approach. We'll take the wipers on for what it's worth, which is not particularly a whole lot here in the sim. Again, you can see the auto thrust, a little bit slow to catch the speed. We're back at around 250 kilometers an hour there. So we may as well take the auto thrust out. So manual thrust, we want about 46% and 1.
Turn right heading 180.
Right turn heading south.
The aircraft slightly overcorrecting here to maintain the loc. We'll just leave things in for now. That's not a particularly comfortable picture to look at. Down through 300 meters, again 70 meters is the decision height. Okay, we are visual with the runway lighting, so we're going to fly the rest manually. The aircraft there not doing a particularly great job. Okay, we've got 1 red, 3 whites there on the PAPI currently, trending high, so we'll correct for that. Got to say, the An-225 feels a little bit strange to fly. Okay, as the MDA will continue. Let's touch down. We'll go full reverse. The runway is obviously pretty heavily contaminated. And as discussed during the brief, we're going to be vacating off to the right. We'll just let the reversers do their thing for now, save the brakes. So onto the brakes, we'll come back into idle reverse and getting the aircraft nice and slow here to take the turn off on the right. Okay, so clear of the runway, we are making our way back in towards the parking area. For the off-landing checks, the landing lights can go off. Take the taxi light on. Strobes can come off. We'll leave the logo lights and the fuselage lights for the time being. We can disarm the reversers, we'll retract the spoilers, and we can retract the flaps here as well. The engine idle switches go back into high idle. Now we'll have the flight engineer behind us as well, start up the APU in anticipation of the engine shutdown. So into the apron here on the left, find somewhere suitable to park up. For the time being, we can just take stand here on the left. We'll get the taxi lights off. And onto the brakes. Park brake is set, taxi lights are off. We'll take the fuselage and the logo lights off here as well. And we'll get rid of the wipers. So for the shutdown checklist, take the instrument switching off. The navigator can do the same here station. APU is available. Typically we shut the engines down from the engineer's station, but today we'll just do that. The fuel cutoff switches. And we do have 6 good shutdowns here on the ground at Antonov International, the birthplace and the restored virtual home of Mriya. So there you go guys, I do hope you enjoyed the flight and another Christmas outing video here on Into the Blue. Once again, please do consider contributing over on my Just Giving page to help out those in need and of course increase everyone's chances of winning a Microsoft Flight Simulator add-on. I'll be signing off for now until the start of the new year. As usual, we'll be starting off 2024 with a breakdown of Microsoft Flight Simulator's top 10 aircraft add-ons. I do hope that you all have an amazing Christmas and holiday period with your loved ones, some good food, great conversation, and perhaps a little bit of simming along the way as well. Once again, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please consider giving it a like. And if you fancy a couple more festive flight simulation videos, why not check out my Christmas video playlist? If you want to see more content from the channel, then please consider subscribing as well. If you'd like to help support the channel further, you can do so by becoming a channel member or patron. I'll leave a link to both of those down in the video description as well. And on that note, for the last time in 2023, a very big thank you to my channel members and patrons for all of your support throughout the year. Take great care everybody, I'll see you all again soon, and once again, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas.